The promulgation of the Constitution in the country has completed 8 years. The initial euphoria of the National Charter that ensured fundamental rights, including inclusive representation, has, however, given way to public grievances in the face of lack of good governance. The scenario has turned from bad to worse as political thinkers in the country have started attacking the federal setup, the very essence of the Constitution of Nepal. Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. It's Constitution Day today. 8 years since the promulgation of the Constitution, the general public still deprived of fundamental rights. Rule of law overshadowed by political gambits. Madhesh-based political parties continue to express their grievances against the Constitution, complain that their disagreements since the inception of the Charter not yet been addressed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addresses the UN General Assembly in New York, urges the world community to stand united against the Russian attack on his country. And Nepal men's volleyball team taking on two-time defending champion Iran at the Asian Games. A defeat will end the national volleyball team's journey. The 8th Constitution Day is being celebrated today by organizing various programs. The government held a special program at the Army Pavilion in Kathmandu's Tunikhel this morning on the occasion of Constitution Day. Extending best wishes on the occasion of the 8th Constitution Day, President Ramchandra Paudel and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, among other leaders, have stressed on the need to effectively implement the Constitution. President Paudel has stated that the state government should be made democratic and result-oriented. Likewise, Prime Minister Dahal, through his message, claimed that the government is committed to the campaign of bringing drastic changes to the living standard of the people. It has been 8 years since the Constitution of Nepal was promulgated. Following the promulgation of the Constitution on 20th of September 2015, the 3 tiers of the government are operating in their second term. With the implementation of the new political mechanism, the public were enthused from the political commitment for national development and prosperity. However, despite the lapse of 8 years since the promulgation of the Constitution, challenges have surfaced in ensuring its effective implementation. Such a situation has left the Constitution experts and those involved in the development of the Constitution concerned. The Constitution promulgated from the Constituent Assembly in 2015 has ensured republicanism, secularism, federalism, and proportionate inclusive representation, among other aspects. 2 elections of all 3 tiers of the government have been held as provisioned by the Constitution. However, challenges have surfaced in addressing issues related to sound administrative mechanism, good governance, and other public concerns envisioned by the Constitution. Government officials are in a state of dilemma because of the failure of the federal government in formulation of laws provisioned by the Constitution. Problems persist in the education sector, while the management of the police department is yet to gain momentum. Such lapses have raised questions on good governance assured by the Constitution. More than 70 laws have yet to be formulated. There has been no progress regarding 40 laws that should have been developed by the federal government. Despite formulation of laws for the implementation of fundamental rights, there are issues regarding their implementation. Instead of fulfilling the responsibility assigned by the Constitution, political parties have been engaged to serve their power interests. Laws have yet to be formulated regarding the shared rights of the 3 tiers of the government, even in 8 years of the promulgation of the Constitution. Provinces are seeking legal treatment against the federal government regarding the share of resources. At a time when collaboration between the federal and provincial governments had to be prioritized, the Inter-Province Council has remained inactive. Those involved in the development of the Constitution themselves have begun questioning if the inclusive proportionate mechanism described by the Constitution has addressed the target groups. There were some disagreements among the parties during the promulgation of the Constitution. Despite 2 amendments, those political disagreements continue to exist. It was the responsibility of the parties to contribute for implementation of the Constitution following its promulgation. However, Constitution experts have said that the political parties prioritizing their interests before ensuring the full implementation of the National Charter could raise questions on the sentiments of the Constitution, which is a political document of consensus. The Constitution can be amended on the basis of requirement as well. However, the parties have yet to pay attention on this aspect. While the Constitution of Nepal has ensured the rights of the public, they have yet to realize their own fundamental rights because of the failure in ensuring its effective implementation. Madhesh-based political parties have continued to express their grievances against the Constitution. They have complained that the disagreements they had put forth when the Constitution was promulgated in 2015 have not yet been addressed. The Madhesh-based parties had put forth demands including determining election areas on the basis of population and assuring proportionate representation, saying that the province governments have not been able to work effectively due to the non-cooperation by the federal government. The Madhesh-based parties have expressed that they have been deprived of their constitutional rights. The Madhesh-based parties have also expressed dissatisfaction towards not incorporating the term Madhesh movement in the preamble of the Constitution. Upendra Yadav, who has demanded for the rewriting of the Constitution, is the chairperson of Janata Samajwadi Party, whose spokesperson Manish Suman informed that the party has decided against celebrating Constitution Day. Another Madhesh-based party, Loktantrik Samajwadi, which is also in the coalition government, has decided to observe Asoj 3rd as per the Nepali calendar as a black day. Likewise, CK Raut's Janmat Party has also demanded to make the National Charter acceptable to all communities. Issuing a press release, Janmat Party has called to make the Constitution complete through amendment. President Ramchandra Paudel has issued a pardon to 670 inmates after rejecting 34 on the occasion of Constitution Day today. According to the Office of the President, the pardon has been issued to 670 inmates upon the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. Issuing a notice today, the Office of the President has said that the pardon has been issued as provisioned by several acts and regulations. The Council of Ministers had recommended for the pardon on 15th of September. Meanwhile, President Ramchandra Paudel has rejected the pardon recommended to 25 of the 34 culprits serving life sentences on murder charges. The President's office has rather asked for details of the murder-accused culprits. It may be recalled that the President's office had received widespread criticism after pardon was granted to Reshamlal Chaudhary of Nagarik Unmukti Party. Some of the rejected names include culprits who have not served their sentencing. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what should be done to improve the quality of education at schools. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
विद्यालयमा विद्यार्थीले पढ्ने र शिक्षकले पढाउने वातावरणको निर्माण हुनुपर्छ।
शिक्षक विद्यार्थी र अभिभावक बीचको त्रिकोणात्मक सम्बन्ध मजबुत हुनुपर्छ।
विद्यालय व्यवस्थापन समितिमा राजनीति बढी भएको छ, यसलाई चाहिँ रोक्न पर्छ।
शिक्षकले राजनीतिक संस्कार चाहिँ सिकाउनु पर्छ विद्यार्थीलाई, तर शिक्षक आफू स्वयं चाहिँ राजनीतिमा इन्भल्भ हुनु हुँदैन।
अहिलेको युवाहरू चाहिँ पढाइमा कम, तर राजनीतिकमा यो जसरी जातीय भेदभावमा बढी लागेको छ त्यो पहिला सुधार्नु पर्यो।
राजनीति गर्छन् शिक्षकहरूले, त्यसलाई हटाउनु पर्यो। व्यावसायिक शिक्षा सञ्चालन गर्नु पर्यो।
नेताहरू छ उहाँहरूले पनि ध्यान दिइदिनु पर्ने हो।
व्यावहारिक शिक्षा हुनु पर्यो, खाली किताबी ज्ञान मात्रै दिएर पनि पूर्ण हुँदैन।
विद्यालयको चाहिँ सुधारको निम्ति काम गरिरहेको, त्यहाँको गुणस्तर चाहिँ बढाउनलाई काम गरिरहेको शिक्षकहरूलाई जबसम्म चाहिँ प्रोत्साहन गरिँदैन तबसम्म चाहिँ विद्यालय शिक्षाले चाहिँ क्वालिटी ग्रहण गर्न सक्दैन।
शिक्षकहरूलाई ट्रेनिङको व्यवस्था गर्नु पर्यो, भौतिक पूर्वाधार निर्माण गर्नु पर्यो।
थ्योरी सँगै त्यो के रे प्र्याक्टिकल बारे पनि मार्केटमा गएर बुझाइदिनु पर्छ स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई।
विद्यालयमा राजनीति बढी भएको छ, यो हुनुहुन्न।
हेडमास्टरले चाहिँ आफ्नो टिचरले के गर्दैछ त्यसको चाहिँ स्कुलबाट छुट्टी हुने बेलामा चाहिँ त्यसको चाहिँ रिपोर्ट जस्तो चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ।
सोर्स भन्दा पढेर राम्रो ज्ञान भएको शिक्षक चाहियो।
Traders have increased the price of sugar during festivals. At a time when the Department of Commerce The entity which is responsible for market monitoring is without leadership. The traders have increased the price of sugar by 20 rupees per kilogram within a week. Sugar used to cost 110 rupees per kilogram a week ago, but now costs 130 rupees per kilogram. Traders have begun charging up to 140 rupees per kilogram for sugar. In this situation, the government had transferred the Director General of the Department of Commerce, Supplies and Protection of Consumer Rights and the Chief of the Department of Supplies. The government has assigned a Director General yesterday. Consumer rights activists have alleged of bad practices in the absence of market monitoring. Around 140,000 to 180,000 tons of sugar is produced in Nepal each year. With the total demand figuring at 280,000 tons, around 100,000 tons of sugar is imported. The Sugar Producers Association has said that the traders might have been charging arbitrary prices by importing sugar through illegal means. The government has issued a permit to the Food Management and Trading Company and the Salt Trading Corporation to import 10,000 tons of sugar each at 50% discount on customs fee. However, the permit has not reached the related departments. It takes at least 15 days for the departments to call tenders for import of sugar. As it is uncertain if sugar would be imported before Dasai, even if the procedures were to begin immediately, the consumer rights activists have suggested the government to ensure efficient market monitoring. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. Why is the price of sugar increased drastically during festivities? Your options are A, arbitrary price setting by traders, B, feeble monitoring, and C, low production. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the international update. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that evil cannot be trusted during his address at the UN General Assembly in New York, as he urged the world to unite to end Russian aggression against his country. In a passionate speech in New York, Zelensky said a nuclear-armed Moscow must be stopped from pushing the world to the final war. He also accused Russia of weaponizing everything from food to energy. Russia's full-scale invasion has prompted widespread condemnation. In a speech which focused heavily on the danger Russia poses to the world, he argued that other common challenges such as climate change can only be properly addressed after Moscow had been pushed back. He also accused Moscow of carrying out genocide by abducting Ukrainian children. In March, the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin over the alleged unlawful deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. Moscow has repeatedly denied Ukraine's accusations, but a number of international experts and organizations point to a growing evidence that Russia has committed war crimes in Ukraine.
Sports News.
The men's national volleyball team of Nepal is facing Iran, one of the strongest teams at the 19th Asian Games today. In today's Group B match in Hangzhou, China, Nepal are playing against Iran, who were gold medalists in the two previous editions of the Asian Games. Despite winning the first set, Nepal failed to secure a win against Bahrain in their Group B match yesterday, losing 3-1. Bahrain defeated Nepal 20-25, 25-20, 25-18, 25-15. Nepal must defeat Iran today to advance to the next round. However, it will be tough for Team Nepal to defeat a strong team like Iran. As there will not be any ranking matches, teams that will not advance from the group stage will crash out of the Asian Games. The 19 men's volleyball teams participating in the Asian Games have been divided into 6 groups. Top 2 teams from each group will advance to the next stage. Even as the official inauguration of the 19th Asian Games is scheduled for this Saturday, matches in volleyball, football, and cricket have already started. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.